Hi, this is Strakie Sowers, Director of Education for Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market.
And I'm Craig Dousette, Assistant Director of Education for Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market.
Welcome to Health Matters, an educational video series about nutrition, health, and supplementation. Welcome again to another series of Health Matters. Today's topic is sports nutrition. Bro, let's face it, sports nutrition. Does it get any better?
It doesn't get any better.
It has to get paid to do this.
We've been waiting for this episode.
That's what I'm talking about. Pretty exciting. All right, so what I want to do today, bro, is just kind of maybe between the two of us, kind of lay a foundation for sports nutrition, and what to use and what to take. So we're going to get really kind of specific on some products and maybe delve into a little bit on it as well. But before we get to that point, I'm just kind of thinking, bro, what's your training? What's your favorite? Dude, triceps has got to be like your favorite exercise, right?
It is my favorite exercise. My brother once said if I didn't have any triceps, I just have fingers coming out of my shoulders. So
exactly.
So yeah, it is my favorite. But that's one of those ego things that you're going to train it, so you got to force yourself to train the other things.
Yeah, right. So if you had it your way, would you just train like triceps every day? Dude, like your guns are huge.
Probably
right?
just triceps and calves.
Take a nap. Your calves are amazing. Take a nap.
That's it.
And then train triceps again.
Triceps
and then forget it. The game's over, right?
Yeah. It's one of those things where everyone seems to have a certain set of body parts or whatever that seems to be good. But that's a great thing about sports nutrition and bodybuilding is you can focus on some of those other areas. Like Arnold used to cut the sweats off his pants type thing.
To almost humiliate himself to the fact that he had to look at his calves and make a difference there.
So that's a great thing about today's topic is you can improve anywhere. Whether it's nutrition or whether it's with the training that we're going to talk about.
So you and I kind of definitely do more of a bodybuilding type training. We've definitely focused on that. We feel like it's a lifestyle adjustment. A lot of the folks coming in do powerlifting. We're going to talk a little bit about powerlifting supplements in another segment. A lot of the folks do cross training. They'll do a combination of like kettlebells and like maybe sprints and chins or dips or something of that nature. So cross training's gotten huge. CrossFit gyms, that's gotten monstrous. But what I think we're going to lay foundation on today is going to be foundation for any athlete. Whether you're a football player, whether you're a basketball player, or anybody that's involved in sports. The Sports Nutrition Foundation always rotates around 4 or 5 key ingredients. Would you agree with that?
I would agree that there's a definite foundation that everyone can start off with, and then later on you can get a little more specific towards your sport,
right.
or towards your goal, I should say. Goal-oriented eating and supplementation is where we come into place.
Right, dude. The other day I was down at my daughter's been going to college down in Irvine, and they have a lacrosse team. And so, bro, I tell you what, man, I watched those guys play lacrosse, and I was like thinking, man, that looks like a fun sport. Just racketing a ball at each other and just banging into each other, almost like field hockey. I don't know. Maybe I would have done lacrosse had I known it existed when I was a little kid. But bodybuilding is where it precipitated for me. I'm an 80s kid, 70s, 80s kid, and you're kind of that 80s kid too, and so bodybuilding was kind of our era, and it's definitely something that got a lot of folks interested. We talked about Arnold. I don't think anyone's done more to promote the sport of bodybuilding and also weightlifting more than Arnold. So
one thing should be said about training is between you and I, mostly between you, we've probably done most all sports and training.
Oh yeah. Except lacrosse.
We've stayed with ultimate frisbees is as close as I ever got.
Yeah, right.
But we've stayed with bodybuilding for a reason, even though we've tried a lot of different things. And so even though that's something that's our passion, our other passion is being able to share all the stuff that we have.
Right.
And that foundation you talk about, when we're talking about, okay, somebody comes in and says, you know what, give me your 4. Well, then we're ready for that because we've gone through. We've gone behind
gone
great
the
people
distance
and our own path as well.
And definitely helped a lot of folks in the line of maybe their sport. All right, so here we go. Pick number 1. What are you picking?
Multivitamin.
Because
I'm assuming,
no, dude.
I'm assuming somebody has all their food, so I'm assuming that food is not a problem.
Well, most athletes, rather maybe some athletes, most should but a lot of athletes eat right. So wait a minute. So a lot of times we hear, well, I already eat right, and I'm doing whatever P90X or something like that, and I'm following their diet, and I think I'm getting all the vitamins I should get. True, not true?
Right off the bat, if I was forced, I would say not true.
Not true.
Right off the bat, not true. A lot of the things, and I'm glad they're eating a varied diet and they're emphasizing certain things, but once you start to compete, or once you start to compete with yourself, then there's extra nutrients that you need at specific times on a specific basis.
Right.
That foods, as much as we love them, maybe in this state and this time, are not going to give us everything.
Now, I've done at least 100 analysis on the individual diets, taken a week's worth of work, pumped it into the computer. Not one of those individuals, with the exception of Jess Garcia, got even close to getting 100% of the RDA for nutrients needed. So what's unique about a multivitamin is going to be more than the RDA. As an athlete, you're doing a lot more work than the typical average Joe on the street. So more nutrients is absolutely essential. So
to me, RDA
I think that's a home run.
It's like gasoline rationing.
Right.
But if your job requires you drive further, then you're going to have more than just your ration or the ration that somebody else that only has to drive a specific distance. And that's what athletes, they want to do more. They want to produce more in a shorter period of time. So you need those extra vitamins and minerals. So that's my number one is good multi.
And bro, antioxidants got to be heavy in this, right?
Got to have antioxidants, your multivitamin. One thing, what happens when we exercise is we produce a little bit extra free radicals that a normal person doesn't.
It's more oxygen consumed.
More oxygen consumption. A sedentary person is not going to be producing as much free radicals. Your body tends to help you out, but we need to also help it out and get some of those antioxidants
in there to quench those free radicals.
Yeah, all of the stuff we talked about.
All right, so bro, pick it. What's the one on the shelf that you're going to pick? You're going to it. You're going to get your multivitamin. What are you picking?
To me, I'm a big fan of Nature's Way Alive vitamin because it's a 1 to 3 a day depending on your needs, and it's got your vitamins and your minerals and your antioxidants. It's also got some amino acids that we'll probably talk about later, but it really settles well in my system, and I'm really sensitive when I talk to people that's also important. We are what we absorb, not necessarily just what we eat.
Right, and that's big. Because one thing, let's face it, if you ate copper pennies all day, you're not going to get a whole lot of nutrients from copper pennies. They'll just slide through you and not really get much out of it.
Turn into the Statue of Liberty, maybe.
Yeah,
but
maybe so.
Maybe. Yeah. What about you? What is your pick?
I really like the Viva vitamins. It's the old Great Earth that's been revitalized under Bernard Cash. I like his product. It mastered the effectiveness of doing testing to ensure that nutrients were getting in. Love that product. And dude, old school wise, I still love the old NSP products. I love those old.
That comes in those packets, correct?
Yeah.
That is probably one of the best things that a supplement can do is be also convenient.
Right.
Not just important, but also be convenient. So those packs are very convenient if you're going to be on the field playing all day, or if you're going to be in a gym, you put it in your bag.
In the bag and away you go.
Yeah, that's another thing to think about when you're supplementing is, okay, this might be the best thing in the world, but taking it every single day, how can the supplement help me take it? And those little packs are good to go.
Good to go. All right, so bro, now we all know if you're an athlete, right? One of the number one things that we always talk about is people talk about anabolic steroids. No, never took anabolic steroids, so I don't know what they're like, which is kind of a positive thing and maybe a negative thing. Ultimately, I feel like it's a positive thing. So ultimately, one of the things though, when you look at sports nutrition, one of the things that a lot of folks are looking at is like, hey, I want to build my body. And anabolic steroids have two actions. Number one, they're androgenic, so it provides more hormones than the average body has. Number two, it's anabolic, which means it retains protein. So not only does it drive the cell to grow, but also feeds the cell more protein. All right, so with that note, let's face it, protein has got to be your number two, is it?
Protein is my number two. Right. Now, one thing about, you mentioned steroids. Okay, fine, we're not going to be taking steroids.
Right.
But one thing that acts close to steroids in a sense, not the same thing, but getting adequate water and adequate protein can also drive your cell to
be anabolic.
Yeah, to be anabolic.
Right.
Exercising, adequate water and protein, those three, that's as close as you can get to taking a steroid.
Let me ask you this. The bodybuilders and all different sports athletes talk about this protein window. What is it?
Generally speaking, right as soon as you get done working out, your body is a sponge. That's what they're referring to. Right. So they're referring to your body's ability to uptake more than it would normally do. And even in a starved state or a well-fed state, right after exercising, you have this window where these nutrients just kind of
suck in like you're saying, like a sponge. It just drinks it in.
Yeah.
So that 60, 90-minute window post-workout is a critical point to get your protein in.
If I had to mention a second window, I would say as soon as you go to sleep, your body immediately starts to repair itself, and a lot of the enzymes that are producing or helping you to increase the rate of muscle reconstruction, those are at their peak. So that's kind of, if I would say it's like a big window, little window, right after you're done working out, big window, as soon as you get to sleep.
Window before you go to sleep.
Yes.
So bro, let's kind of delve into some proteins. I think that's important. You know, you have all different types of proteins. The number one protein, no question about it, hands down, is whey protein as far as being sold today.
Absolutely.
Number two would be probably casein. And what we're talking about is milk proteins here. I'm not going to really delve into vegetarian alternatives because we don't have a lot of time, but I do want to talk about whey protein, and I want to talk about casein protein. So I personally like and use whey protein. It digests best for my system. I have a little milk sensitivity, but I can totally handle whey protein with no problem. The WPI whey protein isolate does really well. MRN has a great one that I like. And so, but you know, what are your takes on some of the mixed proteins like muscle milk, per se, and some of the other ones that are out there?
Well,
Synthesis and
yeah, every protein that we sell probably could be applied to a certain person or a certain aspect of their training. For example, somebody who needs a little bit of extra carbohydrates might go with the protein for muscle milk. Somebody who needs just pure protein because they're eating enough carbohydrates might go with that isolate. You mentioned the Metaburn, the metabolic whey, from MRM.
Right.
They add what's number 3 on my list, which is the branched chain amino acids.
BCAAs.
They add a little extra BCAAs.
So you're moving BCAAs up to number 3. So you're going multivitamin, mineral, then you're going protein, then you're going BCAAs. Dude, I eat BCAAs like they're coming out of my ears, okay? But you know, obviously we're not.
I've seen you eat them. Sometimes they're coming.
Yeah, dude, out of my ears, dust all over me. I love BCAAs. Probably take 3 or 4 servings a day. Especially the older that you get, the muscle recovery, repair becomes absolutely essential, and it prevents that body from robbing Peter to pay Paul after a training session. So it improves recovery, repair. I love BCAAs, no question about it.
They're one of the top. Those 3 amino acids together, leucine, isoleucine, and valine. They're one of the top 3. They're the bodybuilder's best friend.
Right.
And I want to get back to whey, but what I want to say about the branched chains is a lot of things have to go to your liver as soon as you ingest them, and your liver gets to say where they go, not branched chains. They're out of your liver, and they're either burned as
they just head right out there into the muscle in no time.
in your muscle, and they're either burned as fuel or they elicit a response for you to start producing protein.
So, and they do. We know now that leucine absolutely triggers the muscle tissue to synthesize. And I think that's real important, especially for ladies, because a lot of times ladies will say, well, look, I don't have testosterone, but I want to build some muscle. So branched chains become very essential in that situation. Absolutely. All right, so multivitamin, protein, branched chain amino acids. Give me number 4.
Probably the number 4 I would probably, and we talked about this in another time, would be those essential fatty acids.
Yeah.
Specifically because the amount of inflammation that can be produced when you're exercising, when you're lifting weights, when you're taking a pound.
Good fats make a huge difference in the joints, right?
Make a huge difference. Not only that, they protect the cells, and that's very important too, because the fats are good because they can reduce inflammation, and they can help your brain, and they can help your heart, but they also form the basis around every single cell in your body.
And they also help with hormone production.
Hormone production, the list goes on. But specifically for anti-inflammation, when you're exercising, you're taking that pounding, and for a while the testosterone won't let you feel the aches and stuff. Right. But then if you listen to your body,
starts quieting down, something's gonna happen. All right, so here we go. Multivitamins, protein, BCAAs, all right? Fatty acids, including omega-3 fatty acids, general fatty acids. All right, bro, number 5 is your last pick.
Even though you kind of getting this in your multivitamins, sometimes it's hard to swallow a pill every single day. Right. Sometimes it's hard. So what I do is I go with those emergen-C packets.
So you love those.
I love the emergen-C
We talked about pre-workouts a little bit earlier before we shot this. And so one of the things is, there's a lot of things out there like Explode is out there, arginine-based compounds. You've got Rich Gaspari's Super Pump. Mm-hmm. Man, those things really ignite you. They just Hema Rage. Those things, kaboom, they get you lit up and they get you going. There's usually typically caffeine in them. And we talked about, like different age groups, and specifically the young age group really is loving the effect on this. And a lot of times they'll have BCAAs, they'll have some creatines in it. So it's definitely a pre-workout favorite, getting folks up and running and making things happen. But I'm not much of a fan for it. They just make me a little too jittery, and they just make me a little too hyper. I don't know about you, how that...
I'm kind of caffeine sensitive. I do like a little bit, but those things usually pack a wallop. They can be great if you're trying to increase the workload for a short period of time, or if you're dieting for a show and you just really need to prime that anabolic engine. But it's a lot for me. But a lot of people just really it has turned their training on its ear. It's really almost turned them into somebody else.
Yeah, right. A lot of folks just feel like that's bad.
Yeah.
If I'm going, I'm taking my Intel Exploder. Or if I'm going, I'm taking my Super Pump. There's no way out, or Hemarage, or whatever the case might be. All right, so with that note, what you're telling me is you're doing emergen-C before a workout. So it's got electrolytes in it, it's got vitamin C, antioxidant. I mean, awesome stuff. So give me some details. You do just emergen-C, or what are you doing?
I'll typically pre-workout and during a workout, I will sip on emergen-Cs with some branched chains.
Right.
Now the emergen-Cs has those minerals, and it has specifically potassium, what we call those electrolytes. They help conduct electricity through your body and produce force.
Muscular contraction.
And so it also has vitamin C, which cannot be understated when you're talking about joint health.
That's
the ability
true.
to pull water into your joint tissue, that gelatinous.
Completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, your joints are basically jellies, and just like we add pectin, we have to add vitamin C to my elbow jelly. So you got to have vitamin C. The B vitamins are also important because it helps with really nice red blood cell production, and so you carry that oxygen. You can actually produce more work in a short period of time.
Right.
So pre-workout, it's emergen-Cs. My favorite flavor, Super Orange with some
Super
branched
orange.
chains.
All right,
I do use Stark nutraceutical branched chain
big time, bro.
amino acids.
Stark nutraceutical.
Yeah,
MRM's a great product.
MRM is great.
Yeah.
And they both mix very well. Some of them a little bit more than others, but you sip on those things, and to be honest, it can actually help you work out longer.
Dude, I read a new study that showed that branched chain amino acids actually fire up testosterone levels when you use them pre-workout. So that's kind of a cool moment. We're experiencing or actually seeing research of stuff that we've already got a tab on or a feel on. So
yeah.
All right. What about creatine? I mean, you gave me your top 5. Boom, that's in there. What about creatine? Creatine's definitely, it's in the category, always at the top. There's different types of creatine. There's crealkaline, there's creatine monohydrate, creatine phosphate. The creatine monohydrate, the creatine phosphate, I noticed when I used it years ago, I was just using it pre-workout 3 days a week, but I did it for about 4 or 5 months. I gained like 10 pounds.
Yeah.
My body fat stayed as normal would be, like 10% or maybe even lower, so it was all muscle, but I definitely pulled on a lot of water weight, and it took a little while to get off of it. So the crealkaline seems to be one that doesn't pull so much water in, and that's gotten popular. So what are your thoughts on creatine?
Well, first of all, creatine is one of those thousands of studies in all different ages, even with older generation.
16-year-old kids.
Heart health, and also very good for keeping muscles on as we get older.
Right.
But creatine
and that's critical, bro, because important. The elderly athlete would do real well with creatine, I think.
Creatine, one of those things that is designed to hold on to water. It's designed to also help you produce a little bit more ATP in a shorter period of time. Right. But for me, unless you're really trying to just pack on a lot of weight, creatine is one of those supplements that's best used when used least, because what happens is you can get a really good jump, but then you have to kind of maintain your body weight for a while.
You're almost like,
then get your
quote
next
unquote, I gotta have my creatine because I don't want to lose any size.
Yeah.
Right?
So I like to, even though you don't necessarily have to cycle it for, say, liver issues or for other reasons, I like to cycle creatine still to this day so that when you get off of it, you're excited to get on it again.
Right.
So I think it's really effective.
So what would your cycle run typically? Like maybe 6 weeks or 8 weeks or something like that?
Yeah, 5 to 8 weeks, and you're looking at anywhere from 5 to 15 grams, depending on body weight and your hydration levels. I mean, I'm not going to give creatine to somebody who doesn't already drink enough water.
Right.
I don't think that would be fair.
Yeah, or enough electrolytes.
Right. Or
so
get their electrolytes.
The way I like to use it pre-workout for like legs day, a heavy day or something like that, or chin-ups, or somewhere I know where I'm going to use it. I don't use it all the time. A lot of times I'll use it in combination, like with maybe carnitine. I love carnitine, the effect of using carnitine pre-workout as well too. So, Yeah, great.
We talk about carnitine for heart health, and really to burn the ability to burn fat. You don't burn it without carnitine.
Yeah, it doesn't
at
happen.
all.
Yeah.
So it's very
So
important.
if you're dieting and you're working out, carnitine is a great pre-workout as well.
Great pre-workout. And with the creatine, I don't think it's a bad idea. Maybe if you want to experiment, maybe take it just a couple of days a week. You don't necessarily have to just, shove massive amounts of creatine.
Right.
I think you should experiment and kind of feel out what's best for you. Like you said, around leg day or around your weakest
Right.
body part that you're going to push.
Okay, cool.
So that's a good thing. But so definitely I would say multivitamin
Yep.
with antioxidants.
Absolutely.
Whey protein
Whey
or
protein
combination.
or combination, especially the caseins for longer digestion.
Longer digestion, that's
All
important
right.
to say.
So it keeps you full a little bit longer.
Number 3, branched chain amino acids.
BCAAs,
Number 4, we said essential fatty acids.
essential fats.
Number 5, we said creatine. And I want to add one
Creatine.
more.
Yeah.
Glutamine.
Glutamine, you're right.
You gotta
Big
add
time.
glutamine, yeah.
Yeah, big time. I call that the gut amino because it basically enhances digestion. It helps not only with that muscle tissue recovery, repair, it also is integral to stimulating muscle reproduction and growth. So yeah, I think that's a home run. So what we need to do is we'll finish up today with this segment, and then what we'll do is we'll come back with some more segments and maybe delve into some other pieces that are out there as well too.
Absolutely.
Great.
Sounds good to
Awesome.
me.
Once again, this is Strakie Sowers. Thank you for coming to one of our editions of Health Matters. And your health does truly matter.